Queen and now the King has faced many challenges, throughout their reign. One of them is obviously, the situation with Prince Harry and the Duchess of Sussex. Last week, I'm sure you saw, front page of The Sun, Harry came back for this funeral for his uncle, Lord Fellows. He also stayed with Earl Spencer at Althorpe, and he didn't speak to William and didn't go to see his father. There's reports coming out, whether we believe them or not, about Harry wanting to come back and do a little bit more work or to rehabilitate himself, or reaching out for friends to come back and, come back and have a little bit of his old life. How do we read that? I mean, do you think you could see Harry coming back to work? Do you think he'd be welcomed by the rest of the family?
Well, I think the first thing he's got to sort out is no Ravik. The Royal and VIP Executive Committee have decided he's not going to get protection in this country. And, of course, that's an ongoing saga. He's still arguing about whether he should get it or not. I mean, I'm not quite sure why he thinks he should get it, because...
Well, I was going to ask you, Dick, I mean, as a former, police officer for the Queen, is he right to be pursuing this?
No, he's not, because if he was coming back to take over a full royal family life, he would automatically get it anyway. And the government are not silly. If they review every visit to this country and what they know all the threat assessments, and if they think whoever it is, it could be you or Harry, if he needs protection, he'll be given protection. And I got really annoyed because he never came back for Prince Philip's memorial service. And I was quoted on the press, and I still maintain it. And when I was interviewed by Sky, I said he was pathetic. And quite frankly, I was disgusted by the fact he didn't come back after all he'd done for it. And his excuse of security just didn't wash, because if he's not worried about security, he could have stuck, as it happened with his father, Prince Charles, who's got the best security in the land. And I think it was just an excuse.
I agree with you, Dick. He's got to start sort of seeing things as they really are, and he's no longer welcome here, it just seems, and he's going to have to make a big act of contrition, in my view, to the King before he gets back, because, quite honestly, they're frightened to have him with them in things, because any conversation they may have could be in the next TV programme, and they're not prepared to do that anymore. And I think obviously, I always believe in the parable of the prodigal son. I think everything's possible, but at the moment it doesn't look likely.
I often think with you mentioned about the security, it's kind of insulting to the police officers, to the royal household, to the Home Office to say that I don't feel safe in the UK. Of course he'll be safe. Harry would be safe when he come here. That there are situations in regulations and organisations in place that would actually keep him safe. I mean, do you think it's an insult to people in the UK?
One of his ex-protection officers has gone with him to the States and in fact did go with him to the court cases. I did see him in the background. And he would be banging heads together if he thought the threat was there. Well, if he thought the threat was there, he shouldn't allow him to come to the country in the first place. But the Princess Royal's children don't get protection. And look at their life. Peter and Zara live perfectly wonderful lives. They're in the public eye, but there's no perceived threat to them, and they don't. Princess Anne doesn't ask for them to get protection.
Beatrice and usually they don't get police protection either. No, I think he thinks he's bigger than he actually is, and I also feel that Meghan is becoming. I don't think she doesn't want to come here anymore. No. He comes back, but she never comes with him. And what really upsets the King is the fact he's never going to see his grandchildren. These two, this little boy and this little girl, should be playing with their cousins at Balmoral now. They should be here enjoying the life of the royal family. Instead of that, they're stuck in this house, or where is it, in Montecito, and they're just celebrities in another town full of celebrities. Here, he was somebody, and there is just another celebrity. In my view, he's the loser, big time.
Well, I read in the paper this morning, before he went, he was the most popular member of the royal family. And now he's right down, almost at the bottom of the list. Slightly above Meghan.
OK, and slightly above Andrew as well. Well, we'll go to Andrew after. Can I take you back to September the 8th?
Yeah.
There was a slow drip feed of information throughout the day. We heard rumours swirling around. We saw the members of the royal family heading up to Balmoral. But Dick, if I start with you, you worked with the Queen for 3 decades, okay, as her police officer.
Yeah.
What were the emotions running through your head when you were actually finally given that news, that statement? I think it was 6:30 in the evening that Queen Elizabeth II had passed.
I think I'd had a few hours, because I was working for Sky at the time, and we had the outside broadcast unit outside the main gates of Buckingham Palace. So during the afternoon, we were getting drip-fed all this information that things weren't great, and I think we all put 2 and 2 together and made 4. And so when we got the official announcement at 6:30, it confirmed what most of us already thought. But obviously it was devastating news. I mean, I'd worked for her for 14 and a half years and Prince Philip for 14 years before that. And, we were so close to her, and it was just devastating news.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I'll be interested to find out later as we talk about what the kind of atmosphere was like outside Buckingham Palace and the next couple of days. But Arthur, we spoke on the day earlier in the day when the Queen died, because you were in Scotland just a couple of hours out.
Yeah, I was at Dumfries House, which is a stately home that then Prince of Wales had converted into this amazing park, and I was there covering an engagement for our health awards, and I stayed overnight, and the following morning I was checking out the hotel, and suddenly all the staff coming running, all the policemen come running in, grabbing their bags, and then his personal staff, his valet, and they all rushed in, and then the cab driver turned up for me. He said, "Oh, sorry, I'm late." He said, "because I just saw the Prince of Wales getting in a helicopter." Well, he had no engagements that day, so I figured that they'd all gone back to Balmoral, and then I rang the editor and said, "I think this is off. I think the Queen's in a bad way. I think the King's left here now," and I rang everybody. I rang you. I just figured that it was near the end, and what convinced me of that was there was a picture taken where she met Liz Truss, a lovely picture by Jane Barlow, and the Queen looked so very frail in that picture, so very thin. And I thought, Mike, she's really struggling here. She made this amazing smile. And when I heard the news, and I came back to London, and obviously we'd done the obituary for the paper, and we just prepared all that for the next day, and it was just a very sad moment. And I can only remember the Queen all my life. I remember when I was at school, I think it was 12, when the head teacher came in and said, "Oh, the King's died today," and everybody carried on eating their dinner. Nobody seemed to care. But I've been working with her for nearly 40 years, and yeah, I thought these great times and that wonderful smile she had, and no more. I mean,
because I was on an aeroplane, so I was sent to Scotland because we spoke to Arthur in the morning, and we knew something was up. So I got dispatched to Scotland, and I actually managed to get the Wi-Fi. We had a nod that the statement would be coming, and I managed to get the email out quickly, send it to the office to, I think it was 6:30 p.m. Where were you when you were told the Queen had died?
I think I was. I think I just listened to the news. I think gave it out. I think that was when I heard.